Rev up your engines!
Rossa, Scotty, what do you think about the new 2024 four-cylinder turbo Tacomas? Is it better to buy a 2023 V6? Well, I would agree entirely if you want a V6. My son bought a TRD V6 Tacoma because he saw that they're not going to make them anymore. He's got country property, 64 acres. We're towing his boat all over the place, taking it in and out of the water. Four-cylinder turbo won't work as well, right? He also has an older four-cylinder Tacoma. That's the work truck for going fixing up houses and stuff. It doesn't go off-road. It doesn't need all that much power, so he uses it for that. But if you want the power, get a 2023 V6. And I would not buy the modern turbo one. And turbos never last as long as non-turbocharged cars. There's less pressure in a non-turbocharged car. Cynthia Campbell's to Scotty, thanks for sharing your knowledge. What would you consider to be the best SUV to own in retirement years? And is the Genesis a reliable blend? Well, one, throw Genesis out the window. Those are just fancy Korean cars. Now they're their own brand. It used to be Hyundai, Genesis. Now it's, Genesis is its own brand. It's still the same company making them, right? They can be okay when you buy them for a while. But when they age, they become endless money pits. If you want a level of SUV like that, I would say strictly look at the Toyotas, the Lexus, and the Honda SUVs. They have the longest lifespan, well made, and decide what price range you want to buy. I would stick to that. I would stick to Lexus, Honda, and Toyota SUVs, whatever size you like. They're all pretty well made. Snowblood says, Scotty, what do you think about the 2-liter engine and 2020 Honda Civics built in Canada? They're good engines. Honda's made 2-liter engines for a long time. And they got decent enough horsepower by themselves. Now, a lot of times people get them and they're turbocharged and everything. I'm not a fan of that because they get more power, but they're going to wear out faster. And I'm in it for the long run. I'm not in it for the short run. If you want power, get a bigger engine, right? If you want fuel economy, get a decent sized engine and you'll have decent acceleration. And of course, a lot of people then, I'm going to get a little bitty 1.4 liter 4, but it's turbo. So it's little, it gets good gas mileage, it has power. But guess what? With the turbo, it won't get good gas mileage. The rating has nothing to do with what you'll actually get because you're a human. You're going to step on the gas more, the turbo's going to kick in, it's going to rev up, and there goes your fuel savings down the toilet. With a normally aspirated 2-liter engine, you don't have to have a turbo. They got decent acceleration. Pneumatics and Sports says, Scotty, what could it mean if a car takes too long to warm up and get to the halfway mark on the temperature gauge? The simplest thing on earth, buy a thermostat, right? The thermostats are inside your engine, and they're supposed to stay closed. So the water in your engine stays inside the engine, it doesn't go to the radiator, and it warms up faster. And as soon as it warms up, the thermostat opens, then it goes to the radiator and cools it down. If your thermostat either isn't there or is broken open, it's going to take too long for it to warm up, and that's what it is 99% of the time. Most cars, you can change the thermostat, real easy job, not that hard to do. Josh Singh says, Scotty, what's more reliable, a diesel Mercedes C-Class or Honda Civic 2-liter hybrid? If you were talking about an old Mercedes, when they were selling those 300Ds in the 80s, those things could go 1,000,000 miles. The new ones, not as much. Now, Honda Civics are extremely reliable cars. A hybrid version, if you're talking about a newer one, seemed to be totally reliable. Honda's early ones that they had decades ago, the early hybrids, they weren't the greatest. They were a different design than Toyotas. Now they're following the Toyota design, and they've proven to be pretty reliable. You'd find, one, it's a lot cheaper to buy the Honda. You'll probably find it'll outlast that Mercedes by country mile. Scott R. says, I got a 2009 Corolla 1.8. The engine revs high at idle, and it'll randomly go into limp mode. Milkshake in the oil, but no oil in the coolant. Okay, you got milkshake and oil, you got a blown head gasket. The oil hasn't gone into coolant, but the coolant has gone into the oil. You got a blown head gasket. You're going to have to repair it. And don't waste your time with head gasket sealers, because when you get water in the oil, it won't work, because oil and sealer in the coolant will not work. The oil's too slimy. The sealer won't set up, so you're going to have to do a head gasket job. Mark Scott 05 says, Scotty, what do you think's better for longevity? Ford 3.5 Turbo F-150 or the Toyota 3.5 Turbo Tundra? Thanks. Okay. Toyota still makes much better stuff than what Ford's putting up. Look at all the recalls Ford has, right? I'm not a turbo fan, but the Toyota 3.5 V6 is a pretty reliable engine, right? And Ford, their turbos have had problems over the years. They don't last as long. Toyota uses a better system. I would still go for the Tundra that had the turbo, but personally, I wouldn't buy one because I like the old V8 Tundras. They ran forever. Guy bought a 3.5 turbo, and it was even a hybrid, and he was only getting 19 on a highway, so they don't really do that much difference gas mileage. Steven said, I just saw on CBS there's a huge lake in California that dried up and has major lithium deposits hidden under the dirt that will be potentially enough for millions of EV battery. What are your thoughts? All right. They've been searching for lithium all over the place. There's all kinds of places they claim that they found it. I've been around long enough on this planet, 70 years, that I see more people in mines that claim they have all this, and they're just salting the mine to get investors to sucker their money, and then, oh, gee, we were wrong. There wasn't as much as we thought there, right? Don't trust anybody when it comes to mines. They'll lie about everything. Let's say there is, okay? As it stands today, it looks like most Americans do not like electric battery vehicles, right? There's other ways they can go for electric vehicles. Fuel cells, you can use hydrogen, you can do all kinds of things, right? It may be that battery electric cars, in the future, people see, well, there was a fad that went down the toilet, right? Already, the price of lithium has dropped like 80%. They may not be economically viable mines because they don't find, oh, here's a big chunk of lithium. It doesn't work that way. They need tons and tons of rock. Then they got to process it to get a little bit of lithium. So it's an expensive process. It's just like gold. People think, gold mine, it's gold mine. They don't have big ores of gold. They're tiny amounts of gold, and it takes tons and tons and tons of gold ore to make 1 ounce of gold. So it's a very wasteful process, and they might find these things aren't economically viable, and if people don't buy the lithium battery cars, it won't even matter. B. Walker says, why are diesel mechanics higher on the totem pole than regular mechanics? Without an ignition system, you'd think they'd be lower. Okay, here's the main thing. Diesel engines have two qualities that are different. One, they're higher compression, so the engines have to be much stronger built, and so they're heavier. Everything weighs more. And number two, a lot of diesel mechanics, it's commercial stuff, and commercial repair is always more expensive and pays more because the commercial guys, they need it fixed. It's like you take your car to a garage, they fix my car. Some of these clowns might have your car for 5 days, 6 days, a couple of weeks. That doesn't cut the mustard with commercial. They want their diesel truck fixed like right now, ASAP, and they're going to pay for it. And that's why the diesel mechanics make more money. Plus, a lot of them are working on bigger vehicles, more dangerous, a lot heavier. Take the wheel off a diesel truck and you'll see what I mean. Those are heavy. It's not like a little bitty tire on a car. That's the main reason. Cabby says, Scotty, why are cars so expensive in New York City? All the dealerships want an arm and a leg for anything in New York City. Because it's New York City. Numero uno, what do you got? High overhead. This is one of the reasons I tell people, unless you can't find a decent independent mechanic, you're going to be screwed over going to a dealership. You go to the average dealership today, they have an overhead of anywhere from $2 to $5 million a year. They got to pay the overhead before they make a profit. So that means they got to get $2 to $5 million a year out of you, their customers, right? Well, New York City, everything costs more, insurance is more, rent's more, and so they're going to gouge you for cars too. It's no different in LA, San Francisco. I got friends that live out there and they got the same problem. Just how it is. It's going to be more expensive. Live in an expensive area. And, in New York City, let's face it, everybody's got an angle and they're out to make a dime. Key says, you think, does Scotty have a short memory? Okay, I am not senile yet. Okay, I'm not Joe Biden. One guy, an old friend of mine from high school, he found me after years, and he started talking to people on the videos, and they'd say, oh, look at that old guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. And my friend Pat said, he's old, but he doesn't act like an old guy. Well, hopefully I don't act like an old guy, but my brain is still working. Now, my great-grandfather, Foster, he died when he was 95, and he was still totally cogent. Now, I do have to say, he did lose his short-term memory. He could tell you stuff that happened in the 1800s, but he couldn't tell you what happened today, right? I still remember what happened today. So I'm not at that level yet. If I am, I won't be able to answer these questions, and I'll have to stop doing this. So you better hope I don't. Stanley says, what's with the sunglasses? I'm old. My eyes are gone, but they've been gone since I was a kid. Yeah, I got 3 big old lights shining on me, so that keeps it away. These actually are my old sunglasses. They're prescription. The newer ones that I bought, let me tell you something. I got a beef with the optometrist. Look at this. These used to be sunglasses, right? I bought them as sunglasses, and the optician charged me $900 just for the lenses. I bought the frame myself. I got 10 of these frames, so they match, right? It faded away. after a year and a half. Okay? They're making glasses like crap, charging more, $800 for those 2 lenses. These are prescription old lenses, right? I see well enough close. I can't see all that well far away, but I don't need it. If I'm working on cars, I don't need to see a mile down the road, right? And I can see the screen and everything here. These were made in Houston, Texas 10 years ago. They made them better. You can see they haven't faded at all. And these were like $400. And these new ones, like I say, were like $800 just for the lenses. And they faded right off because they make everything like crap these days. Even at the optometrist. They charge more, and what do you get? Garbage. These old ones, I went back to using them because they don't fade away. They're in the sun. They were in the Texas sun for all those years, right? They make even glasses like crap these days. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.